Admiral John Miller stood at the large window of Earth's main space station. His gray eyes looked out at the stars. After working for 30 years in space, he still found the view amazing. But today, the beauty of space did not calm his worried mind. "Admiral, you need to see this," said Ben Harris, his top helper. Ben's face looked pale as he handed over a small screen. John took the screen and read the message. His hand shook slightly. After years of sending signals into space and hoping for an answer, they had finally heard back. But the message was not friendly. "How long ago did we get this?" John asked. 3 hours ago, sir. The message came through the Deep Space Network. We checked it many times. It's real. The message was from a group called the Zaxarian Empire. They said they controlled over 300 star systems. They had heard Earth's radio signals and were sending ships to meet with humans. The message ended with a clear choice: join them or face their weapons. "Have you told anyone else?" John asked. "Just the United Earth Defense Council. They're meeting right now and want you there," Ben said. John nodded and walked quickly to the meeting room. Inside, 12 men and women sat around a large round table. They all looked worried. "Admiral Miller, thank you for coming so fast," said Council Leader Maria Wells. "We've all read the message. What do you think we should do?" John took a deep breath. "I think we need to take this threat very seriously. The Zaxarians sound like they've done this before with other worlds. But we don't know if they're really as strong as they say," said Council Member Alan Jackson. "This could be a trick. Or they could be much stronger than they claim," John said. "We need to prepare for the worst." Maria nodded. "Our long-range sensors show their ships will reach the edge of our solar system in 3 days. We need to decide quickly how to meet them." The room grew quiet as everyone thought about what to do. Earth had built 12 spaceships that could travel between stars. They had good weapons, but they had never been tested in real battle. "I say we hide our ships and act like we don't have space travel yet," suggested Council Member Diana Lee. "Maybe they'll think we're not worth the trouble." "No," said a voice from the door. "We need to meet them head-on." Everyone turned to see Captain Lisa Carter walk into the room. She hadn't been invited to the meeting, but no one told her to leave. Lisa was the best captain in Earth's small fleet. She had short blonde hair and a look in her eyes that said she never gave up. "Captain Carter," Maria said with surprise. "What are you suggesting?" "Send our fleet to meet them at Neptune's orbit," Lisa said. "All 12 ships." Alan laughed. 12 ships against what could be hundreds. That's not a plan, that's suicide," Lisa walked to the center of the room. "The Zaxarians expect us to be scared. They expect us to hide or give up. They don't expect us to come out to meet them with everything we have." "Everything we have isn't much," Diana said. "They don't know that," Lisa replied with a small smile. "And they don't know what our ships can really do." John looked at Lisa with new interest. He had helped train her years ago and knew she was smart. "What are you thinking, Captain?" "I'm thinking about Project Prometheus, sir." The room grew very quiet. Project Prometheus was Earth's top-secret weapon system. Only a few people knew what it could do. "That's not ready yet," Maria said softly. "It is ready," Lisa said. "My crew and I tested it last month. It works even better than we hoped." John stood up and walked around the table. "Even with Prometheus, 12 ships against their fleet is risky." "Being new to space is risky," Lisa said. "But we've been preparing for this day for 50 years, ever since we found that crashed alien ship in the desert." The council members looked at each other. It was true. In 1974, a small alien ship had crashed on Earth. Inside, they found amazing technology and warnings about other aliens in space. Since then, Earth had worked in secret to build ships and weapons while pretending to be less advanced than they really were. "I agree with Captain Carter," John finally said. "We should send the fleet. But if we fail, Earth will have no defense left," Alan warned. Lisa shook her head. "If we hide our ships and the Zaxarians come to Earth, many people could die. We need to meet them far from our home." Maria thought for a long time before speaking. "We'll vote. Those in favor of sending our fleet One by one, hands went up until 8 of the 12 members had voted yes. Then it's decided, Maria said. Captain Carter, you'll lead the fleet as acting admiral for this mission. Thank you, ma'am, but I'd prefer to keep my current rank and ship. Admiral Miller should command the fleet. John felt proud of Lisa. She was putting the mission before her own chance for power. I accept command, he said, and I want Captain Carter's ship, the USS Defiant, to take the lead position when we meet the Zaxarians. As you wish, Admiral, Lisa said. My crew is ready. We should get more information about these Zaxarians before we meet them, John said. He turned to a quiet man sitting at the end of the table. Officer Peterson, see what you can find in the alien database we got from the crashed ship. Gary Peterson nodded. He was Earth's best intelligence officer and knew the alien database better than anyone. I'll get right on it, sir. Everyone else prepare your departments, John ordered. We launch in 24 hours. As the meeting ended, Lisa walked with John back to his office. Do you think we can win this, sir? She asked quietly. John looked at his former student. I think we can surprise them. And sometimes, Lisa, surprise is better than strength. Lisa smiled. My thoughts exactly. Gary Peterson knocked on the door 3 hours later. His face looked troubled. What did you find? John asked. Nothing good, sir. The Zaxarians have attacked 17 other worlds in the last 100 years. They always start with the same message. They always offer the chance to surrender. And if the worlds don't surrender? Lisa asked. Gary's voice was soft. Then there are no survivors. John and Lisa looked at each other. The mission had just become even more important. Get some rest, John told them. Tomorrow we make history. One way or another, the universe will learn about humanity. As Gary left, Lisa stayed behind. Sir, there's something else you should know about Prometheus. What is it, Captain? We've made some improvements. The Zaxarians won't know what hit them. John nodded. Good. We'll need every advantage we can get. As Lisa left, John turned back to the window and the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the Zaxarian ships were coming. They thought they were coming to add another easy world to their empire. They were about to learn that humans were anything but easy. The 12 ships of Earth's fleet moved slowly away from the blue planet. Each ship had been built in secret over many years. They looked simple from the outside, with smooth gray hulls that did not show their true power. The USS Defiant led the small fleet. On its bridge, Captain Lisa Carter sat in the command chair. Around her, the crew worked at their stations, checking systems and preparing for what might be the most important meeting in human history. All ships report ready, Captain, said Frank Rodriguez, her second in command. Frank had been with Lisa. For 5 years, she trusted him more than anyone. Good, Lisa said. Set course for Neptune's orbit. That's where we'll meet the Zaxarians. Course set, replied Susan Kelly, the young woman at the pilot's station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. We'll arrive in 14 hours at current speed. Lisa nodded and turned to look at the main screen. Earth was getting smaller as they moved away. She thought about all the people back home who didn't know about the coming danger. The governments had decided not to tell the public yet. No need to. Cause panic if the fleet could solve the problem first. Captain? Frank said quietly, coming to stand next to her chair. The crew is asking questions. They know this isn't a normal mission. Tell them the truth, Lisa replied. We're going to meet aliens who may not be friendly, but don't mention Prometheus yet. That stays secret until I say otherwise. Frank nodded and went to talk to the crew members. Lisa touched a button on her chair. Miller to Defiant, came Admiral John Miller's voice. This is Carter. We're on our way, Admiral. Good. Officer Peterson has sent more information about the Zaxarians to your ship computer. It's not good news. Lisa frowned. How bad is it? They have destroyed every civilization that refused to join them, John said. And the ones that did join lost their freedom. The Zaxarians take all the best resources from each world they conquer. Then we have no choice, Lisa said. We have to show them that humans are different. Just be careful, Captain. We need to surprise them, not make them angry too soon. Understood, Admiral. Carter out. Lisa turned to her communications officer. Ryan, send a message to all ships. I want everyone to study the information about the Zaxarians. Know your enemy before you fight them. Yes, Captain, Ryan Cole replied, his fingers already typing the message. The fleet traveled in silence for several hours. The crew ate meals and slept in shifts. No one talked much. They all knew what was at stake. 10 hours into the journey, the alarm sounded. Captain, Susan called from her station. Sensors are picking up ships ahead. Lisa stood quickly. On screen, the main screen changed to show the area near Neptune. At first, Lisa saw nothing. Then small dots appeared, growing larger as the computer zoomed in. Count? She asked. 50 ships, Captain, Susan answered. Much bigger than ours. Lisa felt her heart beat faster but kept her face calm. Inform Admiral Miller. All hands to battle stations. The lights on the bridge changed to red. Crew members moved faster now, preparing for possible battle. The Zaxarian ships have seen us, Frank reported. They're changing course to meet us. Lisa nodded. Keep our fleet formation tight. Remember the plan. 4 hours later, the two fleets faced each other in the cold darkness near Neptune. The Zaxarian ships were huge, at least 5 times bigger than Earth's largest vessel. They were shaped like arrowheads with sharp points at the front. Their dark metal hulls had red lights that made them look like giant eyes watching in space. They're sending a message, Ryan said from the communication station. Audio and video. Put it on screen, Lisa ordered. The face that appeared made several crew members gasp. The Zaxarian looked like a mix between a human and a lizard. It had green-brown skin with small scales. Its eyes were yellow with black lines instead of round pupils. When it spoke, Lisa could see sharp teeth. I am Admiral Vexcon of the mighty Zaxarian Empire, the creature said in perfect English. You must be the defenders of the planet called Earth. Lisa stood up straight. I am Captain Lisa Carter of the USS Defiant. We represent the United Earth government. The Zaxarian's mouth moved in what might have been a smile, but it looked more like a threat. Your fleet is smaller than I expected. Is this truly all you can send against us? Lisa kept her face serious. We come in peace, Admiral Vexcon. We received your message and wanted to meet before you entered our home system. The Zaxarian made a sound like laughter. Peace? Yes, we offer peace through submission. Your world will join our empire and your people will serve a greater purpose. On a private channel, Admiral Miller's voice came through to Lisa's earpiece. Don't react to his insults. Let him think we're weak. We would like to discuss other options, Lisa said to the Zaxarian. Surely our worlds can work together as equals. This time Admiral Vexcon laughed loudly. Other Zaxarians could be seen behind him also laughing. Equals? Look at your tiny ships. They wouldn't survive one hit from our smallest weapon, Vexcon said. What could you possibly offer as equals? Frank whispered to Lisa. Their shields match what we expected. Standard Zelian technology. Prometheus will work against them. Lisa nodded slightly but kept her eyes on the screen. Every species has something to offer, Admiral. Humans are very good at solving problems and creating new technologies. Is that so? The Zaxarian said, not hiding his doubt. Then why do your ships look so primitive? My scans show simple metal hulls, basic engines, and weak weapons. Did you rush out to meet us before your technology was ready? More laughter came from the Zaxarian bridge. Lisa felt her crew's anger but saw them controlling it well. This was all part of the plan. Perhaps we did, Lisa said, sounding a little unsure on purpose. We are new to space travel compared to your empire. Vexcon's yellow eyes narrowed. Then you are wise to seek terms now before we must demonstrate our power. Here are our simple demands. Earth will join the Zaxarian Empire. You will give us 20% of your world's resources each year. Your military will be disbanded. 50,000 humans will be taken to work in our central worlds. The bridge of the Defiant grew very quiet. Even knowing this was coming, hearing the demands made the danger feel more real. Those terms are harsh, Admiral, Lisa said. Before we discuss further, May I share a small gift? A demonstration of Earth's greeting customs? Vexcon looked surprised, then amused. A gift? By all means, Captain. Show us this custom of yours. Lisa nodded to Frank. The time had come to show the Zaxarians what humans were really capable of. Lisa looked at Frank and nodded. Frank turned to his control panel and pressed several buttons in a special order. He then spoke quietly into his headset, sending coded messages to the other 11 ships. Admiral Vexcon, Lisa said, her voice stronger now. Before we show you our greeting, let me tell you a short story about humans. The Zaxarian leader looked bored but waved his clawed hand for her to continue. 50 years ago, a small ship crashed on our planet, Lisa said. Inside, we found technology we had never seen before. We also found warnings about species like yours. Vexcon's yellow eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? Instead of announcing our discoveries to the stars, we kept quiet, Lisa continued. We studied, we learned, we built, all in secret. The Zaxarian's face showed the first signs of worry. Your ships are primitive. Our scans confirm it. Lisa smiled. Do they? Frank, activate Prometheus Protocol. Prometheus Protocol activated, Captain, Frank replied. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then slowly, the hulls of all 12 Earth ships began to change. What looked like simple metal started to shift and flow like water. The dull gray color became darker, then began to shine with a blue glow that grew brighter by the second. On the Defiance Bridge, small panels opened in the walls and floor. New control stations rose up with screens showing systems that hadn't been visible before. What is this trickery? Vexcon demanded, his voice higher than before. Not trickery, Admiral. Just good planning, Lisa said. Humans are very good at hiding their strengths until the right moment. Ryan called from his station. Captain, the Zaxarians are scanning us again. Their weapon systems are powering up. Let them scan. Lisa replied calmly. Susan, bring our real shields online. Susan, Kelly's fingers danced over her new controls. Quantum shields at full power, Captain. Outside, a blue bubble of energy formed around each Earthship. These weren't the simple energy shields the Zaxarians used. These were quantum shields that could bend space itself to protect the ships. On the screen, Lisa could see Zaxarian officers rushing around their bridge shouting reports to Admiral Vexcon. Impossible, one of them yelled. Their energy readings just jumped by 5,000%. Vexcon stood up from his command chair. What have you done? What are these ships really? These are Earth's true ships, Lisa answered. The outside, you saw, was just a cover. Underneath, we have technology your empire has never seen. No primitive species could develop such technology so quickly, Vexcon hissed. You stole it. We learned from that crashed ship, yes, Lisa admitted. But we improved everything we found. Humans are very good at making things better. Admiral Miller's voice came through the ship's speakers. Captain Carter, status report? All ships have completed transformation, Admiral, Lisa reported. The Zaxarians are surprised. Good, Miller said. Proceed with stage 2. Lisa nodded, to Frank again. Frank pressed more buttons and the weapon systems of all 12 Earth ships came online. Captain, said Ryan from communications, the other Zaxarian ships are moving to attack positions. Hold our position, Lisa ordered. Do not fire unless I give the command. On the screen, Admiral Vexcon was shouting orders to his crew. Target their ships. Full power to forward weapons. They're charging their main weapons, Frank warned. Lisa stood tall in the center of the bridge. Admiral Vexcon, I suggest you reconsider. You don't understand what you're facing. I understand that you have deceived us, Vexcon snarled. No, one tricks the Zaxarian Empire and lives. Last warning, Lisa said firmly. We don't want to fight, but we will defend ourselves. Vexcon's only answer was to cut the communication. The screen went black. They've fired, Susan yelled. Energy weapons from 5 of their ships heading straight for us. Lisa didn't flinch. Shields holding? Susan checked her readings. Yes, Captain. The quantum shields are absorbing the energy completely. The Defiant shook slightly as the Zaxarian weapons hit their shields, but there was no damage. The bright energy beams from the alien ships hit the blue shields and seemed to disappear. Their weapons had no effect, Frank reported, sounding relieved even though they had expected this. They're firing again. 3 more ships joining in. This time, the Earth fleet didn't even shake. The quantum shields were fully powered now, bending space to redirect the energy attacks harmlessly away. "Captain," Ryan called. "Admiral Miller is hailing all ships." "Put him through," Lisa ordered. Admiral Miller's face appeared on a corner of the main screen. He looked serious but calm. "Captain Carter, the Council has authorized a demonstration of our main weapons. Target the large asteroid at coordinates 227 Mark 384. Use minimum power." "Understood, Admiral," Lisa replied. She turned to her weapons officer. "Paul, target that asteroid with the gravity lance. 10% power only." Paul Williams, a calm man with steady hands, worked at his weapons station. "Target locked, Captain. Gravity lance ready at 10%. Lisa took a deep breath. This would be the first time they had used the gravity lance against a real target with the Zaxarians watching. "Fire!" A beam of dark blue energy shot from the front of the Defiant. It moved faster than the eye could follow, striking the large asteroid that floated between the 2 fleets. The asteroid didn't explode as most weapons would cause. Instead, it began to shrink, the rock crushing in on itself as gravity increased, 1,000 times in that small area. In seconds, the asteroid that had been as big as a small moon was now the size of a car, then a basketball, then smaller still until it vanished completely, crushed into a point of infinite density. Complete silence fell on the Defiant's bridge. Even though they had tested this weapon before, seeing it work so perfectly was still amazing. On the Zaxarian ships, panic broke out. Lisa could see it when communications came back online. Officers were shouting, some were running from their posts, and Admiral Vexcon stood frozen, his yellow eyes wide with shock. "What? What was that weapon?" he finally asked, his voice shaking. "We call it a gravity lance," Lisa explained. "It increases gravity in a small area by many thousands of times. That was only 10% of its power." The Zaxarian admiral slowly sat back down in his chair. For the first time, he looked at the human captain with something close to respect, or perhaps fear. "Perhaps," Vexcon said slowly. "We should discuss those terms again." Lisa nodded. "I think that would be wise, Admiral, but this time as equals." For several minutes, both fleets stayed in position, facing each other in the darkness of space. Admiral Vexcon had asked for time to speak with his commanders before continuing talks with the humans. Lisa had agreed, knowing that the Zaxarians needed to understand that everything had changed. On the Defiance bridge, the crew worked quietly, keeping all systems ready in case the Zaxarians decided to attack again. Lisa stood by the main window looking out at the enemy ships. "Do you think they'll try to fight again?" Frank asked, coming to stand beside her. Lisa shook her head. "I don't think so. They're smart enough to know when they're outmatched, but they've conquered many worlds before. They won't give up easily." "Captain," Ryan called from his station, "Admiral Miller is requesting a private channel." Lisa nodded and went to her small office just off the main bridge. She pressed a button on her desk and Miller's face appeared on the screen. "Good work, Captain," he said. "The demonstration went perfectly." "Thank you, sir," Lisa replied. "But I don't think this is over yet." Miller's face grew serious. "I agree. Our intelligence suggests the Zaxarians have a much larger fleet in other parts of space. They might call for backup." "What do we do if they bring 1,000 ships instead of 50? Lisa asked. "We have plans for that too," Miller said. "While you've been talking with Vexcon, we've activated our hidden defense systems throughout the solar system, and our other ships are moving into position." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Other ships? You mean we have more than 12? Miller smiled. Slightly. "Captain, did you really think Earth would build only 12 ships in 50 years? We have another 100 hidden throughout the asteroid belt and behind the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. They're all moving into position now, still in disguise mode." Lisa felt a wave of relief. Even with their advanced technology, 12 ships might not be enough if the Zaxarians brought their full force. "Why wasn't I told about this?" she asked. "Need to know basis," Miller replied. "If you were captured, we couldn't risk the Zaxarians." Learning everything, Lisa nodded, understanding the logic. "So what happens next?" "Now we negotiate," Miller said. "But from strength, not weakness. I'm sending Richard Davis from the Diplomatic Corps to lead the talks." "Davis is good," Lisa agreed. "The Zaxarians will find him interesting." Miller smiled again. "That's why I chose him. He looks harmless but has a mind like a steel trap. He'll be joining you on the Defiant in 1 hour. Until then, keep the Zaxarians talking." "Yes, sir," Lisa said as the screen went dark. When she returned to the bridge, Ryan looked up from his station. "Captain, Admiral Vexcon is hailing us again." "Put him on screen," Lisa ordered, taking her seat in the command chair. The Zaxarian admiral appeared, looking less confident than before. "Captain Carter, I have consulted with my command staff and with our central government." "And?" Lisa asked calmly. "We are impressed by your technology. It seems we may have underestimated humans," Vexicon admitted, the words clearly difficult for him to say. "Many have made that mistake," Lisa replied. "We prefer peaceful relations, but we're always ready to defend ourselves." Vexicon's scaled face showed no emotion now. "Your gravity weapon is unlike anything we have seen. How did you develop such technology?" Lisa smiled slightly. "As I said, humans are good at improving things. The crashed ship gave us ideas, but our scientists made them better." "I find that hard to believe," Vexcon said. "No species has developed so quickly." "No species you've encountered before," Lisa corrected him. "Humans are different. We adapt faster than any other race we know of. When we face a problem, we solve it. When we see a limit, we find a way past it." Frank moved closer to Lisa and whispered, "They're scanning us again, more deeply this time. And 3 of their ships are moving slightly out of formation." Lisa nodded to show she understood. "Admiral Vexcon, we will be sending a diplomatic representative to continue our discussions. His name is Richard Davis. He will arrive in 1 hour. "Very well," Vexcon agreed. "We will receive your diplomat. But I must warn you, Captain. The Zaxarian Empire is vast. What you see here is only a small part of our fleet." "We understand," Lisa said, keeping her face calm even though she recognized the threat. "But remember what you've seen of our technology today. And remember that what we've shown you is also only a small example of what we can do." The 2 leaders looked at each other in silence for a moment, each trying to measure the other's resolve. 1 hour, Vexcon finally said, and the screen went dark. Susan turned from her control panel. "Captain, sensors are picking up movement from the outer solar system. More ships coming this way." Lisa felt her heart beat faster. "Ours or theirs?" Susan checked her readings. "Unknown. They're still too far away to identify clearly. Keep monitoring them," Lisa ordered. She turned to Paul at the weapons station. "Keep the gravity lance charged but powered down. We don't want to appear threatening while we're arranging talks." "Yes, Captain," Paul replied, adjusting his controls. The next 45 minutes passed slowly. The crew stayed alert, watching the Zaxarian fleet for any sign of attack. The unknown ships coming from the outer system moved closer but were still too far to identify. When the small shuttle arrived from Earth carrying Richard Davis, Lisa went to the docking bay to meet him. Davis was a thin man with kind eyes and gray hair. He didn't look impressive, which was one of his greatest strengths as a negotiator. People tended to underestimate him. "Captain Carter," he said, shaking her hand. "It's good to meet you at last. I've heard impressive things about you and your crew." "Thank you, Mr. Davis," Lisa replied. "The Zaxarians are waiting for you. They're not happy about what happened." Davis smiled. "Few people are happy when they discover they're not as powerful as they thought." "Don't worry, Captain. I've been studying the Zaxarians since we first received their message. I think I know how to handle them." "Be careful," Lisa warned. "They've conquered many worlds. They won't give up their plans easily." "No empire ever does," Davis agreed. but they've never met humans before. That gives us an advantage. As they walked back to the bridge, the ship's alarm suddenly sounded. "Captain, to the bridge." Frank's voice came over the speaker. "Emergency." Lisa broke into a run, with Davis following close behind. When they reached the bridge, she saw the crew gathered. Around the main screen, "Report," Lisa commanded. "The unknown ships, Captain," Susan said, her voice tight with tension. "We can identify them now." "And?" Lisa asked. Frank turned to her, his face grim. "They're Zaxarian battleships, Captain. 20 of them, much larger than the ones we're facing. Now, they just dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system." Lisa looked at the screen. The new ships were massive, at least twice the size of the ones they had faced earlier. "Admiral Vexcon is hailing us again," Ryan reported. Lisa straightened her uniform and nodded to Davis. "This is why we brought you, Mr. Davis. Ready to begin your work?" Davis straightened his tie and stepped forward. "Always ready, Captain. Let's show them how humans negotiate." Admiral Vexcon's face appeared on the main screen. His yellow eyes gleamed with renewed confidence. "Captain Carter, it seems our discussion about strength has new meaning. As you can see, more of our fleet has arrived." Lisa kept her face calm, even as her mind raced with plans. "We see them, Admiral. It doesn't change our position." Vexcon made a sound like a laugh. "Doesn't it? Your 12 ships performed well against our scout fleet, but these are true battleships. Each one carries weapons that can destroy a moon." Richard Davis stepped forward. "Admiral Vexcon, I am Richard Davis, diplomatic representative of Earth. May I suggest we continue our talks before anyone takes actions they might regret?" The Zaxarian studied Davis with narrow eyes. "A diplomat? Do you think words will save you now, human?" "Words have power, Admiral," Davis replied calmly. "They can prevent unnecessary loss of life on both sides." Vexcon seemed to consider this. "Very well. You may come aboard our command ship. We will allow one small shuttle with you and 2 guards." After the screen went dark, Lisa turned to Davis. "It could be a trap." Davis nodded. "Almost certainly, but we need to buy time." "Time for what?" Frank asked. Lisa looked at her second-in-command. "Time for our other ships to arrive." She turned to Susan. "Any sign of our hidden fleet?" Susan checked her screens. "Yes, Captain. Sensors show multiple objects moving from the asteroid belt and the moons of Jupiter. They appear to be simple rocks or ice chunks." Lisa smiled. "Perfect, they're still in disguise mode." She pressed a button on her chair. "Admiral Miller, are you seeing this?" Miller's voice came through clearly. "I am, Captain. Commander Allens. Ships are on their way. Keep the Zaxarians busy for another 30 minutes. "Mr. Davis will handle that," Lisa said. "He's going to their command ship." "Risky," Miller commented. "But necessary," Davis cut in. "Don't worry, Admiral. I've faced worse." 20 minutes later, Davis sat in a small shuttle with 2 security officers, heading toward the massive Zaxarian command ship. The ship was huge, like a floating city in space, with towers and weapons pointing in all directions. "Remember," Davis told the officers, "let me do the talking. No matter what they say or do, stay calm." The officers nodded. They were specially trained for this kind of mission and knew how important it was to keep peace. When the shuttle landed in the Zaxarian ship, 10 armed guards met them. The guards were all tall with the same scaled skin as Admiral Vexcon, but their scales were darker, almost black. "Follow," one guard ordered in rough English. The human group was led through long hallways with high ceilings. Other Zaxarians stopped to stare at them. Davis guessed most had never seen humans before. Finally, they reached a large room with a round table in the center. Admiral Vexcon waited there with 5 other Zaxarians who wore special marks on their uniforms. "Sit," Vexcon ordered, pointing to chairs on one side of the table. Davis sat calmly, placing his small tablet on the table. The security officers stood behind him, hands at their sides. "Now, human," Vexcon said, "let us be clear. Your small show of technology was impressive, but it changes nothing. The Zaxarian Empire will have Earth one way or another. Davis smiled slightly. Admiral, I think you still don't understand humans. Let me tell you a short story from our history. Vexcon looked annoyed but waved his hand for Davis to continue. Long ago on Earth, a small island nation called Greece faced a huge army from Persia. Davis began. The Persian king, Xerxes, sent a message to the Greek soldiers saying, "Drop your weapons." The Greek leader, Leonidas, sent back just 2 words, "Come take." Is there a point to this primitive history lesson? One of the other Zaxarians asked. The point, Davis said, is that humans have always faced bigger enemies, and we've learned how to win against the odds. He tapped his tablet, and a 3D map of the solar system appeared above the table. It showed all the ships in the area, including the new Zaxarian battleships. This is the current situation, Davis said, but watch what happens next. As they all looked at the map, hundreds of small dots suddenly appeared, moving fast from different parts of the solar system. The dots were small human ships dropping their disguises as they approached. What trickery is this? Vexcon demanded, standing up. Not trickery, Davis replied calmly. Just good planning. Did you really think we would build only 12 ships in 50 years? We have 300. On the Defiant, Lisa watched as Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. The ships had been disguised as asteroids, comets, and even small moons. Now they showed their true forms, each glowing with the same blue energy as the original 12. All ships reporting ready, Captain, Frank said with a smile. Commander Allen's fleet has the Zaxarian battleships surrounded. Good, Lisa replied. Keep all weapons powered, but don't fire unless they do first. The alarm sounded suddenly. Captain, Susan called out, 2 of the Zaxarian battleships are charging weapons. Lisa's hand moved to the ship-wide communication button. All ships, defensive positions, prepare quantum shields for impact. Before she could say more, her screen lit up with an incoming message. It was Davis, still on the Zaxarian command ship. Captain, hold fire, he said quickly. Admiral Vexcon has agreed to talk. Lisa signaled to her crew to wait. Are you sure, Mr. Davis? Our sensors show they're charging weapons. They were, Davis agreed. But I think I've convinced them it would be unwise. The Admiral has just ordered his ships to power down. Sure enough, the energy readings from the Zaxarian ships began to drop. What did you say to him? Lisa asked, curious. Davis smiled. I showed him our full fleet. Then I told him about Earth's history, how we've fought countless wars among ourselves, getting better at it each time, how humanity has faced extinction many times and always survived, and I explained what happens to those who threaten our home. 2 hours later, Davis returned to the Defiant. He looked tired but pleased. Well, Lisa asked as she met him in the docking bay. We have an agreement, Davis said. The Zaxarians will leave our solar system. In 3 months, they'll send real diplomats, not conquerors, to discuss trade and knowledge exchange. They agreed to that? Frank asked, sounding surprised. They did after I showed them more of our technology, Davis replied. Not weapons, this time, but medicine, art, music. I explained that humanity has more to offer as friends than as slaves. Lisa shook her head in amazement. You convinced an empire that has conquered 17 worlds to be our friends instead? Davis smiled. Humans are persuasive when we need to be, and the Zaxarians are smart enough to recognize a good deal when they see it. Later, as the Zaxarian fleet prepared to leave, Admiral Miller's face appeared on the Defiant's main screen. He looked pleased but serious. Good work, everyone, he said. But this is just the beginning. Now the real work starts. What do you mean, sir? Lisa asked. The universe knows about us now, Miller replied. Other species will have heard about what happened here. Some will want our friendship, others will want our technology, and some will fear us. So what do we do? Frank asked. Lisa answered before Miller could. We do what humans have always done. We adapt, we learn, we grow stronger, and we prove that humanity deserves its place among the stars. Miller nodded. Exactly, Captain. Set course for Earth. It's time to tell the world that we're not alone anymore, and that thanks to you and your crew, we've made our first allies instead of our first enemies. As the fleet turned toward home, Lisa looked out at the stars one last time. The universe had just become much bigger and much more complex. But she wasn't afraid. After all, she was human. And if there was one thing humans were good at, it was facing the unknown and making it their own.